All right, what's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about MJT, Relic, Aged Finishes, guitar bodies, necks, and all the things that they do. We've been working with MJT for a while. If you're looking for a full build from MJT, they most likely will use our pickups. So if you're interested in orders and MJT, they can do the whole package for you. But a lot of people buy just the bodies, and sometimes they're aged necks, and sometimes send them stuff to age, all sorts of cool stuff. So we're going to talk about two different MJT finishes that we've got in the shop. Marco, do you want to start with what you've got there?
Yeah, I've got like a cool like two-tone sunburst, kind of like 51 P-bass kind of thing with some maybe like Thunderbird pickup routes or something cool is going in here, but you can see it's got the small control plate. And you can see that it's very heavily checked, and you can see the lacquer checking. We'll show some close-up stuff.
Yeah.
But really nice, convincing look. Like this looks like it got pulled out of a barn or something.
Yeah. Off the road.
Yeah.
Technically. Right? Yeah, so that's probably one of their heavier, because they've got, if you've been to their site, it's kind of overwhelming. I know we've gone through some relicking on some of the guitars that we've built, and even just kind of choosing finishes for this one and other things we've done. It's like, wow, there's like 7 levels of butterscotch and 7 shades of butterscotch, and that gets a little bit crazy sometimes. But you can go to their site and you can kind of see some galleries. I'm like, oh, I like this. Or one thing I really like is their finishes over finishes, where it's like a shell pink with a sunburst underneath, and those kind of things. I'm always just kind of drawn to those. This one here is a deep Lake Placid blue, I believe is the official color. This is more of a light to medium Relic. It's got some very subtle checking. It's got just a little bit of dings around the outside. If this looks familiar to you, this is a build series video that we did on this Fender roasted neck and the MJT body. Wound a set of pickups for it, did all sorts of crazy stuff. You can find that back in our channel. Look around and you can follow this whole series. But this was a really good job by MJT. Just kind of a less on the road kind of thing, more like somewhat well taken care of Relic, I guess you could say.
Just worn in.
Just slightly worn, yeah. And it's cool because you can get crazy beat up, and I've seen them even more than that. One thing I think maybe, I don't know if this has been your experience, but in terms of a lot of the MJT stuff that we've seen through the shop, from our own stuff to customers, I feel like it's a lot better than your average Relic stuff in terms of the look and the feel of it. Would you think that's pretty accurate, I guess?
Yeah, and I think you could tell with like all of the options and all of the colors, like you can tell they do a lot of guitars, and so obviously they're going to get pretty good at it. I think so. It's like there's just those subtle touches that you just know to do because you've been doing so many, and like where the buckle rash goes, and making this smooth. And because if you just hit finish like this, it usually will just kind of be jagged and not comfortable. So they take the time to
take a grinder to it, which is like some of the Relics. Like that's one thing we were kind of talking about before we turned the camera on. Is this that you see some of these Relics and these really high-end custom shop level guitars. I won't mention any brands because there's a few that I really like the brands as a whole, but some of their high-end Relic stuff doesn't really look very good. Or if you're sitting playing a guitar like this, you're probably not going to have a Relic up here, right? And there's some spots where you're like, well, I don't know that it really, in the wild, I don't know that it would age that way. So for whatever that's worth, I think Relics are kind of a hot topic and kind of a polarizing thing, but we really like what MJT does. I know that they do some really good work, and of the Relics out there, I think that they're one that works really well. If you're looking for a body or neck, there's a lot of bodies on eBay that are auction based. You can kind of follow them and sometimes get a good deal for a couple $100 for a nitro Relic. And there's some good stuff out there. Let us know what you think about these particular guitars, and do some flyover shots of each of them, and hopefully you guys are enjoying stuff like this. This is a little different from the regular content, but we kind of got into the parts caster modding world over the last little bit. I know you built a few tellies and we built this one, and so it's kind of like, if you want that look, MJT is a great way to kind of accelerate that aging, as opposed to some people buy stuff and then they age it. But obviously the problem is a lot of the different finishes are not really conducive to making a very good looking aged guitar. So highly recommend MJT. I know that their lead times have varied a lot in the last few years, I think with COVID stuff, and they get bodies from a supplier and then they have to relic them, and the nitro takes a while to cure out and stuff like that. So I think that would be, you know, I've heard rumblings of that being a concern, but it's probably just due to the nature of how things are going in the business. But if you were to spec out your perfect relic finish, what would it be right now?
Man, it would maybe be maybe like a really bright yellow, just something just that would pop, and it would probably be pretty like heavy relic, I would think.
Yeah,
maybe like this though.
To where it's like really dark, because I like some of those that are darker, where the rubbing is. Yeah, it's like it's almost like brownish kind of color in the bottom. That would be a good color. What's the official like color of yellow? Because I mean that's a big. Yellow's kind of a broad spectrum.
It's just like a graffiti, just the loudest yellow, almost like banana yellow maybe.
Kind of like the 80s, like Kramer, Shredder totally. Yellow. Okay, yeah. Nice, that would be a good, that would be
something
a good color.
Like that, I think. Maybe a single pickup.
Single pickup, nice. I've always wanted to do, we've been talking about juniors for a while. I've always wanted to like do a junior and have it, MJT kind of relic the junior for us. That would be really cool, like just a beat up like Pelham Blue or something, you know, something cool like that. But anyways, MJT, highly recommend them. Again, if you're looking for a full build from MJT, you can get orders in that, and they contact us, you contact them, they contact us for pickups. You can ask us questions if you've got an MJT parts caster in process. Ask us some questions about what we normally send to MJT or what you might want to have in your guitar, and then we can kind of walk through that process with you and get you some good sounding pickups.